Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Christ the royal master leads against the foe, forward into battle, see his banners go. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Oh, for a faith that will not shrink, though pressed by every foe, that will not tremble on the brink of any earthly woe, that will not murmur or complain beneath a chastening rod, but in the hour of grief or pain will lean upon its God. A faith that shines more bright and clear when tempests rage without, that when in danger knows no fear, in darkness feels no doubt. Lord, give us such a faith as this, and then whatever may come, we'll taste and hear the hallowed bliss of an eternal home. A charge to keep I have, a God to glorify, a never-dying soul to save, and fitted for the sky, to serve the present age, my calling to fulfill. Oh, may it all my powers engage to do my Master's will. Arm me with jealous care, as in thy sight to live, and o' thy servant, Lord, prepare a strict account to give. Help me to watch and pray, and on thyself rely. Assured if I my trust betray, I shall forever die. Rise up, O men of God, have done with lesser things. Give heart and mind and soul and strength to serve the King of Kings. Rise up, O men of God, his kingdom tarries long. Bring in the day of brotherhood and end the night of wrong. Rise up, O men of God, the church for you doth wait. Her strength unequal to her task, rise up and make her great. Lift high the cross of Christ, tread where his feet have trod. As brothers of the Son of Man, rise up, O men of God. Good evening. Let's edify one another this evening, shall we?
Yep, let's just buy the Saints with professionalism and shenanigans. That was my bridge. Yep,
That works.
sure.
That works.
Hello.
You sound so enthusiastic.
Did you see that? Did
you
you,
you just spilled your. You're like, yep.
did you see that?
I did. You, you you're you literally take your
Uh-huh.
you took your drink of 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 uh, of
Agua.
water and you go.
No, I did not.
Well, you didn't bust it like I did this styrofoam, but you squeezed it and it
I
squirted water up out all over everything.
yeah, I need to. I hold on.
You just don't know your own strength. Hello, Sister Reba.
CJ and O'Shea? Huh?
Well, he does look
You
like me.
you look young. Oh,
You know, you can't see the beard.
spitting image. So guess what? Did I tell you that I cannot drink my water here right now?
You cannot make the what? You can't drink
I
your water.
nope. There is lead in the water, and there
You are on a boil ordinance.
what?
Are they having to replace your pipes?
There is lead in the water, and as far as I know, they've done everything they can do. So I don't know what will happen. I'm I'm gonna document how much I spend on water. And I mean, if it's not that much, so far I've spent nothing because my mama bought me brought in a big case. But if I end up spending a lot, I might
Why,
see.
hello, dearie.
Uh, I I might see about getting a probate or something. That's not the word, but I don't know.
Well, you know, a rebate or something. You could get a lead filter to try to filter, you know, one of those pure water filters to purify the water. Oh.
So I
Of
can.
course, you know that brings a whole new definition to the whole new um, um, that could be definition depth to the phrase "get the lead out." Come on, CJ, get the lead out.
Yeah. So water bottle.
Yeah, that's
So
plastic. That's not
my
lead.
yes. My problem is I can't make mac shells and cheese. How can I solve that problem? I guess pour a bunch of
You
leaves in a pan.
you can't tan.
Oh, no, what? No, I can't make shells and
That's
cheese.
oh
I,
mac and cheese.
I was gonna make shells and cheese tomorrow night on stream because
Okay,
of Shay.
you've got a whole day's worth to do to figure this out. It's called getting your water by the gallon. Don't just get water in your drinking bottles like what you have in your hand.
but you can get water in the gallon jugs.
Oh, yeah.
And using the gallon jugs, you can use the gallon jug waters for your cooking and stuff like that.
Yeah, I could. Wow.
Alternately, if you have, you check your research, but you can actually boil a lot of things out. Excuse me, and boil a lot of contaminants out of water. I'm not sure about lead. I don't think so, but
Nope. Uh,
there
uh,
might be some things that you can do to mitigate lead.
Nick, looked at it said, no, you can't boil that out.
But you might be able to find filters that'll filter it out.
Yeah. Originally, they had a filter and then they took it away and then replaced it, and now there's a note saying basically we're out of luck. I'm like, what?
Now, what you have to do is you have to figure out, is this something that is citywide or is this at the house level? If this is in if this is in the apartment complex, then they have a responsibility to fix this issue, or they can be fined and or sued by the. They can be fined by the city and or state. They can be also sued by the individuals, and yeah, they could lose their license to rent because you are owed. You have a legitimate claim or right to fair housing. And if you cannot drink the water, then they are not providing you adequate housing to meet your needs. And so that falls under the, under the state housing laws and stuff like that.
I
So
should call the office and see if there's any progress on the water or if it's just been dropped for right now. I don't know. Because the note made it sound like here's what's going on. Good luck. There was no here's what
yeah,
we're
if you're unclear as to what this, what it is meaning, then absolutely call the office, get clarification as to what's going on. Make sure you're documenting what you're doing and what the clarification means.
Right.
Always have good, clear documentation. I'm not a lawyer and I don't play one, but this is common sense that you would make sure that you document your efforts in this regard. Because otherwise, it can come back to bite you should you have to pursue other means,
Right.
other options.
I just want to be able to drink some water.
I know that that when we were doing WIC, we had to check in, every month and they would poke the kids' fingers like every 2 or 3 months to check their level of lead in their system. And that was what caused no amount of issue because as we went through the progress, you can have WIC up until the child is like 5 or 6 years old. And we would have all these wonderful reports, no, acceptable levels of lead, they'd have under a certain amount of, and it would, the testing would prove it. Perfect levels of, with no lead or with such trace amounts that there's no harm or anything, you know. And we get all the way to the time when the child would age out of WIC, and that very last one would suddenly have an exorbitant amount of lead in the system that we'd have to go take him to the doctor and have them checked.
Whoa.
No, it's not wow. It's the caseworker deciding that because we homeschooled, that she wanted to exert her, and so she would force us. She didn't believe that we were giving them enough care, and so she would force us to go to the doctor by skewing the results. So, in other words, she was falsifying the results.
Wow.
And what really, really upset us and the cart was Shua's caseworker for WIC. Everything was all hunky-dory until that very last one. And then she turned us into CPS, or HHS, Health and Human Services. And so, of course, we have a case on file because Shua has a speech impediment, and she doesn't believe that we were doing enough in the care of Shua. So suddenly one morning we got a knock on the door saying, I'm so-and-so with the Health and Human Services, here to check on the welfare of your children.
Whoa. But I bet you passed with flying colors. You're like, bye-bye.
Absolutely, but that still required them to come in several more times. And we made sure that we had lawyer, advice and all that stuff. So, but the problem is that, this was all done because of someone's overreach.
Right.
Because someone had a vendetta against us, and because we refused her services.
Right.
So
we'll see what happens. There's a list
for anyone out there that is homeschooling or thinking of homeschooling, be aware that there are people out there that are going to be vindictive like that. But also, I highly recommend for those who are pursuing homeschooling and those who wish to know more about homeschooling, there is an organization for homeschoolers it's a lawyer organization. And this is just me. This is not CEM. This is me as a dad and as a homeschooler. But I recommend the Homeschool Legal Defense Association, HSLDA. And you can pay it by the month, you can pay it by the year, or you can get a lifetime membership in the HSLDA. I think it's something like between $12 to $15 a month. It is, I don't remember now. It's $100 and some plus dollars a year, like almost $200 a year now. And it is it's right about $1,200 to $1,500 for a lifetime membership. But that gives you access 24/7 to a lawyer in your state that is for deals specifically with homeschool issues.
Um, I don't know if this is a bad thing or just me,
Probably.
but if there's a year-long thing, like if I can pay for a year instead of monthly, I do it every time for a year. Like pay one time, it's something that gives
Mhm.
me so much satisfaction. Just give
I
it
am I am wanting to do the lifetime membership with the HSLVA. I have been unable to do that at this, at present. So every year I pay by the year instead of by the month. The first couple of years I paid by the month, but then I got, well, that's pretty stupid when I can actually pay like 160 to $180 for 1 year, and then I think now it's closer to the $200 mark. But Sister Reba, I do not know if she did because she turned it in. I believe she turned it in anonymously. Of course, they don't. The CPS agents do not tell you who turns you in. Um, but I know the reason that this would be the only person is because it was right after our visit to her that this occurred, and it wouldn't have been our neighbor. So we were on very good terms with our neighbor, and um, our neighbor has never ever been concerned with the care that Shua received. Um, and it wouldn't have been anybody at the school because most of the school didn't ever know about Shua. Most of my coworkers didn't know. I mean, dad would have known, and maybe my boss, but didn't care.
in internal
Oh,
events,
Carol.
in internal events, your dad told me.
Done. Yes, I do homeschool my kids. I have been homeschooling my kids from the get go.
Homeschool is so much better.
It
Better.
works for a lot of people. It doesn't work for everybody, and that's perfectly grand. I mean, there are some kids that thrive better in the public school or the private school environments. The thing of it is, we have to recognize, no matter where you're at, you have to recognize that there is no one size fits all for education. You cannot pigeonhole people. I'm a different size than CJ. I have different interests than CJ. I have different interests than Donnie or Reba or Carol. And so I learn differently. CJ learns differently. So you can't pigeonhole people. Thomas Edison, Alexander Graham Bell, these are people that thought differently. In fact, Thomas Edison was deemed by our education system as unteachable. So his mom pulled him out of school because his teacher refused to teach him any longer. His mom pulled him out of school. Pretty sure it was Thomas Edison. I don't think it was Alexander Graham Bell. But anyway, pretty sure it was Thomas Edison. And look what great things he went on to do.
The light bulb. By the way, think
Reba, and I don't think anybody's ever gotten in trouble for falsifying those reports. I think it's actually built into their system that they do that because it happened to every single child, every single one of my kids.
wasn't there a movie based on him? It was an old movie, right?
There's probably been several movies.
Old black and white one. I feel like.
But I mean, you look at those who, when they were not pigeonholed, when they were not forced to conform to the norm in regards to education, look what happened.
Yeah.
Thomas Edison, the Wizard of Menlo Park, he he invented so many things. You look at Alexander Graham Bell, Nikolai Tesla. You look at so many people that you find the spirit of creativity when it is released. Great things happen. But if you try to force it into a box and label it, you squelch it. And that's what uh, a lot of the problem with today is. We get so wrapped up with conformity in certain aspects. Now, conformity is good in certain ways, and it's bad in others. We
Like
want to conform to Christ.
Yeah. They
We
might.
we absolutely want to conform to Christ and his laws, because they are good, they're wholesome, and they lead us to, of course, heaven, but they also do good for all mankind when they are applied correctly. But there are people that abuse that conformity. There are people that, because Christ wants us to be, while conforming to his law, he still lets us be individuals.
Yeah.
Um, while
Yeah.
we are still pleasing, while we still must please God, we are still created unique individuals, with our own thought patterns and our own talents and abilities.
When sorry,
Go ahead.
when the Lord judges, He's not going to look at the curb and say, "Oh, you're with the curb." No, it's
Mhm.
a individual judgment. It's not a grade on the curb type thing that you sometimes have in school. But what did you do
Yeah,
with what I gave you?
he's going to judge according to each man. He's going to judge each man according to what they do.
Yep.
Not about what he's not going to judge Reba based upon what CJ does. That's not the point. He's going to look at Reba and say, okay, Reba, how did you conform to Christ and live up to that standard in your way? What good did you do? Did you visit the sick, the shut in? How did that look for you? Did you
Right.
clothe the naked and feed the hungry? How did that look for you? Um, and so he allows us our individuality, yet requires us to conform to his law.
Was that a fly?
Yeah. It's the one that keeps buzzing around and trying to land on my eye, cheek and my mouth and my nose. And anyway,
Well,
so he allows us to be that individuals, because just like Paul says, he says, just because you're not the ear does not mean that you're not important. Just because you may be the toe and you want to be the hand doesn't mean that you're going to be the hand. The toe is just, it's as important as the hand, just in a different way. It has its own role. It has its own unique characteristics.
Trust me, if you bruise a toe, even your pinky toe, well, you're going to find out real quickly what it does day to day to you.
So, conformity is good, but so is non-conformity. We don't want to conform to the ways of the world. You know, we have, and so we have certain leeway when it comes to expressions and to doing things our own way, so long as they don't go against God's way. And so long, and of course, sin is going against God's way.
Yeah.
Right. So when we allow creativity to have free reign, that's good.
Yeah.
Within certain degrees, creativity that destroys somebody else, that isn't good. That isn't the right way to go. But creativity, things like what Thomas Edison did with his phonograph and his light bulb and his, and there's so many different other things that he brought into existence or helped to bring into existence. Nikola Tesla, he did so many experimentations in energy. Alexander Graham Bell with the actual use of creation of the telegraph, and the telephone. One of my favorites, actually an ancestor of mine. You may or may not have heard of him. Anybody ever heard of Cyrus McCormick? No? Well, we kind of owe part of our current, or most of our current iteration of combines to him. Because he and his father are the ones that worked out the International Harvester, worked out the harvester. That which actually became the combine, as they worked on the wheat harvester.
Hello, Cleveland Combine.
So, you have Ford, you have, of course, Fulton. Anybody ever heard of Fulton? I think his first name was Charles.
Fulton Lava. Oh, wait.
Fulton's Folly. You ever hear of Fulton's Folly? Steamboats.
Whoa.
And eventually, of course, we also had, Carnegie and them that brought about the railroads and stuff like that. Creativity. When I was growing up, not far from myself and Donnie, was a gentleman, old gentleman by that time, who, because of his creativity, I don't know as he even made it through the fourth grade. He might have made it through the fourth and not through the eighth. But because of his creativity, he's the one that put the cab on the first road grader. He's the one that built the first snowblower for the road graders. Um, but he did a lot of work with hydrogen and wind energy. His name was John Lorenzen. You can still find videos of his up on YouTube. Funny old man. By the time I got introduced to him, he was deaf as a coot. Or I mean, he was deaf as a post and as crazy as a coot. But fun to be around. When he'd have people that would come and tour his home. His home, by the way, was completely off grid in the 90s, in the middle of Iowa. He had a wind generator for his house and one for his shop. He ran his car and his pickup on hydrogen electricity. He'd go to the gas station not to fill up with gas, but rather to fill up his tank with water. Because he's ran his car on hydrogen, that means he actually ran it on water. But when people came over to tour his home and his shop, he'd say, "Hey, you want to see something cool?" And you see this 6 foot something old balding guy, gumless or toothless, as he were, and his face would light up and his eyes would crinkle as he's smiling. "You want to see something cool?" He'd take you into the shop. He'd fill up this. He'd open this valve and it would fill up this balloon, and then he would take one of those little sparkers for your acetylene torches and things. You know, when you striker, and it's basically like the striker for a cigarette lighter. Donnie knows what I'm talking about. I hope the rest of you guys do. But he'd take that little sparker and he'd put it right next to that balloon and spark, and it'd go poof. Because he'd filled it up with hydrogen, and it would sound just like a gunshot going off. He'd just laugh and laugh. He thought that was so funny. It's just so fun just to fill up a balloon with hydrogen and pop it. But his windmills would power up this huge room in this corn crib section of old forklift batteries, so that when there wasn't any wind or wasn't any sun, he had energy. He had power for his house, and it would run his refrigerator and his lights. But creativity. God gave us what we have, and it's wrong to let it go to waste.
Yeah.
Now, understand that there are still limitations, because what one man can dream up for good, another person can dream up for evil.
Right.
Every tool that man creates, I should say, invents for good, has or can be used for evil. Yeah. Every single one. Well, yes, even a hammer has been used for murder. And a computer, which is a wonderful thing for keeping in touch with people, has been used for stalking, bullying, dissemination of pornography and other evil vices.
Would you stop getting in my head tonight? I gotta say something, and then you say what I was gonna say. I'm like, wow,
It's being united, brother, one in purpose and mind.
that's right.
So, you know, we need to be make sure that number one, that we are conformed to Christ, that we utilize the abilities and talents that He has given us for His purpose. But don't let that restrain you from trying to use it for His honor and glory. We can't pigeonhole people. Educate, well, there's no one size fits all process for education. We're failing so many kids because we're trying to stuff them into boxes they don't belong. We're trying to stuff information into their head in manners in a way that they don't learn very well, in a way that they don't take. And it doesn't end well.
Kids are
Go ahead. Go ahead.
kids end up resenting school and the whole education process because one of the reasons, among others, is this is so boring. Uh,
Not only that, they end up resenting the process of learning. Learning is not meant to be something that is onerous, or something that is despised. It's something that's supposed to be joyous, something that is supposed to be sought for the fun. You know, look at Proverbs. You don't believe me? Look at Proverbs. Seek after wisdom, get understanding. Does this sound like something you're supposed to just despise and hate and yes, if I have to. No.
Right.
Number two, they end up despising authority. These are the people that made me sit in that classroom for 6 to 8 hours a day when I wanted to be outside playing, or I wanted to be doing something that was more fun. And many times a child learns in a unique way that is totally different than the method that's being used. My children, I'm going to brag here because for a little bit, because not that I have figured it out, but I have figured my children out to a degree. Amos is not a classroom person. Don't try to stuff him in a classroom. He was a hands-on total. You took him, if you tried to teach him in a classroom, he just sat there like a puddle. But the moment you gave him an engine and he would take that thing apart, start researching on YouTube everything there was to be found about that particular engine, and within a day to a week, he would know everything there was about that engine, how to take it apart, how to put it back together, what its specifications were, and he'd be able to, you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
He'd know everything that he could about it. He found his passion, his fun. O'Shea, he absolutely hated to read initially. But Mom and Dad had a wonderful book. I can't remember the title of the book for the life of me. It's red. The cover's red. But what I noticed, what's unique about this book is It starts with signs and shapes that they see every day. The stop sign, the green light. And you start with words that they would see and hear every day. Stop, go, yes, no. And um, we started there. Then we found his passion. We found art. We found garden. And he found reading. And as soon as he found reading, it was like an entire world opened before his eyes. Now he absolutely loves reading.
Well, I still hate reading.
What you do is you find what the child wants, what he desires. Alicia loves art. She could sit in front of a screen watching different art techniques for hours on end. She likes nursing. She's either going to be a nurse or she's going to be an artist, as in a graphic artist or advertising or something of that nature. More power to her. Her grandfather was an artist. Her grandmother is an artist of some degree. Mother. She both is a wordsmith and an artist. But look at me, I'm a bus driver. Anyway, I just do woodworking stuff as a hobby. The thing of it is you find what they are passionate about, what they want to do, and you let them learn. You show them the tools. Okay, this is how you research. This is what you. This is where you can go to find the information. So you want to be a nurse? Here you go. Why don't you come with me to my doctor's visits? And she gets to meet people that are in the field and talk with them, find out things that are unique to the field. She's even had a doctor let her take a sample. Yeah.
Cool.
She's had nurses that have let her help prepare, not do something that is health risk, but like, for example, take the alcohol pad and wipe the spot to be given injection. Or she even got to do something with the needles and syringes. I don't remember now exactly what it was. Alicia might be able to tell us, but she got to help organize the trays and things like that for some of the injections I've had to have. People in the field that have taken an active interest and tried to help foster that interest in her. How many kids get to do that? If the education system was structured more to that, our education would be 100 times further along than what it is right now.
Yeah.
We'd have kids that were smarter, that were competing on the world stage and winning, because they would have the knowledge at their fingertips. They would be able to they'd be able to interact with people in the field that they want, but they'd also have been researching and reading, and they wouldn't even recognize that a lot of the stuff that they had originally hated were things that they were now doing because they loved it. because they found a way that it connects to the field that they're interested in. Amos reads because he found a way to connect it to mechanics. O'Shea reads because he found a way that it connects to his art, to his landscaping. And then he found out that it's a way, like I tell the kids on my bus, to take a trip, to go on journeys, have adventures, and never leave the farm. Ezra wants to be an airplane pilot. Shua, it's too early to tell. But she's dabbling in so much. A little bit of construction, a lot of deconstruction or destruction.
Hey, maybe she'll be a demolitionist.
There's just so much. But I can definitely see Shua being in some sort of a computer field in the future. She's got that in her. Tremendous.
I hate this. I don't even know how I stream. Like, Nick doesn't even know how I stream. Talking to me about this stuff, I'm like, I don't know that. I don't know what that means. And I don't know how to click go live. That's about it.
So God lets us and encourages us to be unique, yet still conform to his principles, his commandments. He expects it. He demands it. If everybody was the same robotic personality, where would the joy be? If everybody was a diamond, there would be no life.
There would be the value to the diamond if everybody was the diamond. We look at diamonds because they're not like everybody else. They're not like any other gem.
If everybody was a diamond, there'd be no value.
Yep.
Cuckoo in the hedge. Now I'll tell you the next tale. No, I'll say the next. To tell the truth, sometimes the two are the same. For a merry tale is like a sweet song. Besides, it is a song, a madrigal of the merry men of Gotham, a cuckoo bird singing in their meadow, Jack of Dover, and the Fat Harold. Sparkling spring had come to sunny England, and the green meadows and sprouting woods around Gotham town were a-thrillin'. On the yellow, dusty roads, travelers were coming and going, and among them were sleek Jack of Dover and Robert the fat guzzling Harold. Both were arguing about the men of Gotham, whether they were truly silly or not. Robert said they were, Jack said no. Let us go and see, they agreed. So they turned to Gotham Road and came there on a Sunday. Since it was the month of May, the month of delight, all the people of Gotham, men, women, and children, had gone to make springtime joy and dance around the maypole that stood in the middle of the town. The rainbow birds, seeing the company and hoping for crumbs, had joined the merriment, and none sang louder than the cuckoo, the little gamin who lays its eggs in other birds' nests. When the dancing and singing were done, and the company sat down to a grand feast, the cuckoo was still at his own music game, loudly and cheerily. "I like the song," said Joan, the alderman's daughter. "The song is sweet indeed," said Dame Alice, the alderman's wife. Now, when Dame Alice and Joan said they liked the same thing, Richard the alderman was not the man to refuse it to them. Besides, other women and children now said the same. "Oh, if only I could have the lovely cuckoo sing in the winter as well as in the summer," spoke young Joan again. "I'd get it for you if I could," said Martin, the saddler's apprentice, who loved Joan. "And why can't you?" quoth Richard the alderman. "Marry, why not? We men of Gotham, who could outwit a king of the realm, surely can outwit a cuckoo." He called a council then and there, and it was decided to keep the cuckoo singing all the year round, for the joy and pleasure of Joan and of all the others as well. "Let us build a hedge around the bird," cried Martin bravely. It was the first thought of how it was to be done, and it seemed a good one. No sooner said than the task was begun. The men began cutting trees, setting them in the earth, and tying them stoutly. As for the bird, he sat on the bush singing gaily. It did not take long till the hedge was made all around, but there was no roof on it yet. Right then there came to the meadow Robert the herald and Jack of Dover. First to see them was Henry the miller. He ran up to Richard the alderman. "Alderman," he whispered, "the herald and Jack of Dover are here to spy on us." "Oh, is that the game?" said Richard. "We'll fool them in our good old Gotham way. The work is now done," he cried. "Then what do you think of our fine cuckoo hedge, Master Robert and Jack of Dover? We made it so the bird won't fly away," told the draper. "Seeing here all the year, thou shalt lack neither meat nor drink." Jack and the herald looked and listened, and while they looked, the bird suddenly rose in the air over the top of the hedge and flew away, crying loudly, "Cuckoo, cuckoo." "Vengeance on her," said Richard the alderman. "We made not our hedge high enough. That was silly of us indeed. Another foot of hedge, and she would never have escaped us." Guzzling Robert, the herald looked at Jack of Dover. "What did I say?" said Robert. "Aren't the men of Gotham the silliest of England? Those fools never thought of a roof." Jack of Dover did not know what to think. He was not yet certain whether the men of Gotham were truly silly or just sly. But to this day, not far from Gotham, you can see Cuckoo Bush Hill, where the hedge was raised to keep the birds singing all year round.
Funny. I like it. Thank you. Made my night. If that could be featured like every Thursday somehow, I would be a happy man.
Well, I'll try it then.
Yay! Well, thank you all for being here. And look at that, we made it to our hour by. Remember here at CEM, we want to do three things. We want to glorify God, edify you, His saints, and answer any spiritual questions you may have. Thank you all, and have a great night.
And hopefully, prayerfully, you have been edified, drawn closer to God. That way, whether we wake tomorrow to serve God here on this earth, or we wake tomorrow to serve God up there where we all long to be, minus the cuckoo bush tree or fence. Yeah. Anyway, you know where we'll have the pleasure, the privilege, the honor of being, and of course, minus the cuckoo bird. For we'll see you then. God bless and you walk with Him. We love you all, and good night.